Foods that were made by accident have been responsible for some of the most iconic dishes in our history. They involve stories of serendipity, experimentation, and chaos. Green is edible delights like the chocolate chip cookie, nachos, and even the iconic popsicle. We'll explore some of the fascinating stories behind these delectable treats, examining their unlikely origins and how they became a staple in our culinary culture. So let's get cooking. 1. Potato chips. Potato chips were invented in 1853 by Chef George Crumb at a restaurant in Saratoga Springs, New York. According to the story, Crumb had a customer who had sent back a plate of fried potatoes out of dissatisfaction with how thickly they had been sliced. As an act of spite, Crumb sliced the potatoes as thinly as he could and fried them. To everyone's surprise, the customer loved them and the dish became an instant hit. 2. Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola was first concocted in 1886 by Atlanta pharmacist John Pemberton as a medicinal syrup that would be dispensed in soda fountains. Originally marketed as an invigorating, nerve tonic, the coca leaves and cola nut-infused drink contained only trace amounts of the stimulants and promised to cure a variety of illnesses, from morphine addiction to dyspepsia. As such, Coca-Cola was not originally created or meant for drinking. It was only in 1895 that Coca-Cola began advertising itself as a refreshing beverage. By the start of the 20th century, Coca-Cola had become one of the top-selling soft drinks in the United States. 3. Sandwich. The modern sandwich is widely attributed to John Montagu, 4th Earl of Sandwich. There is a popular anecdote that the Earl was so busy gambling and did not want to stop to take a meal, so he began eating what is now called sandwiches. He was an avid gambler and it is said that he asked for the meat to be served between the pieces of bread so he could eat while gambling. This fast food item was an immediate success and the item took his name. Though the Earl started the sandwich craze, there is some evidence to suggest that the combination of bread and meat was eaten in ancient Rome. Today sandwiches come in a variety of combinations and toppings and serve as an easy and quick way to get nutrition on the go. 4. Nachos. Nachos were invented in 1943 by Ignacio Anaya, a maître d'hôtel at a restaurant in the Mexican city of Piedras Negras. Anaya, known as Nacho to his friends, was essentially a fix-it cook, making side dishes and snacks for unexpected diners. The story goes that when a group of military wives came into the restaurant one day requesting a snack, Anaya got creative with what he had on hand, tortillas and cheese. He sliced the tortillas into triangles, fried them in oil to make chips, and topped them with melted cheddar cheese and jalapeno peppers. Anaya's invention ultimately became a beloved staple in Tex-Mex cuisine, inspiring a variety of dishes and iterations of nachos. He eventually opened his own restaurant in his hometown and named it Nachos Restaurant, with the namesake snack as the main item on the menu. 5. Ice cream cone. Ice cream cones were likely invented by accident when an Italian ice cream vendor at the St. Louis World's Fair of 1904 ran out of his edible cups made from waffle batter. As luck would have it, a neighboring vendor had a nearby stall that sold waffle-like pastries called zalabas. The instant solution was to roll the zalabas into a cone shape and fill them with ice cream. The ice cream cone's popularity quickly spread and soon vendors across the country were including cones as part of their offering. There are also several other stories that attempt to answer the question of who invented the ice cream cone, but none have been able to be fully corroborated. 6. Popsicle. Popsicles were invented in 1905 by an 11-year-old boy named Frank Epperson. Epperson was living in San Francisco and was inspired to make his own cool treat one night while mixing up a soda with potassium bicarbonate and water. He accidentally left the concoction on his porch with a stirring stick still in it and woke up to find that it had frozen overnight. Frank called his creation the Popsicle and served it to his friends and family. The frozen drinks quickly gained popularity, and by 1923, Frank had patented his invention and changed the name to Popsicle. At first, he sold the frozen treats with double lollipop sticks attached, which allowed customers to hold the icy snack without getting their hands cold. Later on, Frank experimented with adding different flavors and colors, and began selling different versions of his popsicle. Today, popsicles have become a beloved part of the American childhood experience, with hundreds of flavors on the market. Not only are they delicious to eat, but they are also symbolic of warm summer days and bring a sense of nostalgia to many adults who fondly remember eating them as a kid. 7. Ketchup. In the early 19th century, ketchup was sold as a health tonic that could purportedly help with a variety of ailments, such as joint pain and gastrointestinal issues. It contained ingredients like vinegar, exotic spices, and fish brine that could have provided potential health benefits. However, as it was soon discovered that ketchup was more of a condiment than a medicine, it began to be sold in stores instead of pharmacies. Because the taste of ketchup was quite strong with the medicinal ingredients included, home cooks began experimenting with recipes that had fewer ingredients, which ultimately led to the modern ketchup that we know today. Overall, it is interesting to see how much the recipe for ketchup has evolved over time, and reminds us of how far it has come since it was first sold as a medicinal product.